or a bearded man, or a woman with armors and arrows and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah. So since we last talk, I had a big flip. There you go.
Wow.
Suspect. What does that mean? Yeah. So
What does that
let's see.
mean?
Yeah. Well, for those who have been following us and for those who are too new to our channel, you could say, I've always speaking about the five aspects of living, of human being, the mind, the heart, the body, the spirit, and the universe. And the mind is there to make sense of the world. The heart, your feelings are like signals to tell you what you like and what you don't like, to give a direction in your life. And your beautiful body is there to make it happen. We to physically go into action. The spirit is that you're here on this life and this planet for a reason, for a purpose, for a reason, for you are you, and
Mm,
nobody else is you, and that's amazing. That's wonderful. And the universe is the fact that we are living all together. We are sharing this, and with the magic of the internet, it's amazing that I'm sharing this time with you. I mean, and with our audience. I mean, that's so beautiful. That's such a gift. Um, so for years, I mean, for the last, I guess, even before the confinement, before the lockdowns, I was working on this concept of, I was saying, listening with your head, loving with your heart, and create with your body. And for years, I was writing on this, listening, loving, and create. And then finally, I found the fourth one, which was, well, you actually need a person to actually do all of these things. We're not just floating in midair. So uh, listen, loving, and create. And then there was the self, so that was number four, the spirit, the self, the soul. It took a lot of work to find that one because, it doesn't, you don't see it yourself. You have your ideas, your feelings, and your heart, your body. And then finally, once I did find the spirit or the self, then came the universe. So number five, and then I felt I was complete. And these are all tools to find happiness. So it's not just a kind of philosophical research here. Um, why are you doing this, Guy? Why does it matter so much? Well, we've all heard about the expression of letting go. That's a very common expression. And so, but what do you let go of? And how do you let go of? And and over the years I've worked around that. So, the mind is all your education and your belief system. Um, your heart is about your fears and your doubts, and your body, it's even harder because it's about, I wouldn't say addictions, but we feel, we have the five senses. And small parenthesis, the English language or any other language, we could be speaking Francais or Latvian, or it doesn't matter. um, we lost so many words that sometimes so we talk about feeling, but when we talk about a feeling, uh, often we're talking about a belief or talking about an emotional feeling or a physical feeling. So when we use that word, it's kind of very confusing. So the body is not about feelings, but it's about sensing, you know. Uh, and we lost touch about, do you feel your body tensing, for example? Do you feel tired? Do you feel strained? Do you feel if you drink too much coffee, you'll get hyper, So there you go. So I'll drink to you too. Well, I'm having decaf. But it's all the question of, so the body is about you could say the five senses. But we often use the word feeling. How do you feel? But it's not the same. The five senses, I have 10 here, sorry, five senses here, is about the body. And so letting go, how do we deal with our senses? There's cigarettes and alcohol and pills to numb, to not feel something. And there's addictions, where you actually take a substance to enhance, to go more of your senses, more pleasure, more fun. But in either case, instead of just living your senses, you're changing them. You're doing the action of not listening to your body, of not listening to the messages of the body. Anyway, that's a lot of a lot of information there. But it was like, so the mind is your beliefs, and your heart was about your fear, and the body was about your what you're sensing, and the spirit was about your self-worth. Do you think you must earn your right to existence? Do you think you must prove to other people that you're right? Do you again, the word feel, that's such a problematic word, but is your position that you have to defend, you have to justify, you don't have value in life, that's the spirit. So basically that's the mood. And even in the current language, it's what's your spirit? How do you sense yourself? Anyway, and the last part, the universe, that's the one about why am I here? The pure existentialist crisis, you could say. Anyway, so what's the big flip? So I was working with that for years, and the big flip is to actually say, well, why do we start with the mind and the heart and the body? Why do we start with this information? Actually, now is to say, my number one is the universe is a gift. And the universe is something outside of you that is bigger than you. And that's why I use the word of faith there, because it's beyond your control. It's a given. It's a gift. So instead of asking yourself, why am I alive? Or what's my purpose in life? Or am I doing this right or wrong? We put this all to the side, and you just sit quietly and say, boy, I'm alive. Isn't this great? Isn't this amazing? It's like, so this is now my foundation. So it's a big flip. So before it was more like, who am I? What's my purpose? Am I doing things right or wrong? Is it my right? Do I have to fight? Why was I born? What's wrong with my family? What's wrong with my relationship? What's wrong with, was the starting point. I'll go see a psychiatrist, or I have problems and, and arguments and stuff, because it's all in the head. It's all in the feeling. It's all in the body. The big flip is to say all of these things are okay, they're right in their due times. But actually, that's the basis of life, is to do the reverse. So to do the reverse is to say, I'm alive. And no one can take that away from me. I don't have to do anything to be alive. There's no question of being worthy. There's no question of meaning. I'm just here, and that's like, and being rich or being poor, being whatever country. Of course, there's challenges that we can talk about later that you face, but we're all equal at that level. All of life is there for you. It's a given. And that's the act of faith. Now, Um, I'll give you the. It's just there. Once you. So how do we practice? And that's the word I always use now. It's practice. It's not a question of belief, believing in the universe. So how do you practice knowledge that the universe is there? Well, you just practice being silent. And that's a very hard practice when we're not fleeing our sensations, when we're not stuck in our fears and our doubts, and when we're not thinking about what has happened before and what we need to do to come next. It's all about, if I, it's, how could I say? If I, if I stop everything, is the sun going to keep on shining? Um, a very crude and raw example of faith is, for those who know my story and my book, I was abused as a child, physically, sexually, mentally, and now I'm a clown, so anything is possible when you find healing, when you find your true self. And so basically, because of the violence and the physicality, I totally cut off my body, and I was totally cut off from my feelings. I didn't have a body. I didn't wash myself. I stank. I got 30 cavities because I didn't go to the dentist. So why? I wouldn't say why, but how come I didn't kill myself? Because I was living in a very painful life. And even if this is kind of very wrong or raw, there was one image, and it came from the abuse, but turning it into a positive, and just to say, you have a man and you have a woman, and they're both naked, and they both have hair between the legs, and at the same level, a man has a piece sticking out, and a woman has a place where it can go in. And so there's some order somewhere. I didn't go further than that. It just said that, and I couldn't be sexual. I couldn't have any sexuality. I had no power over myself. I had no over desire and stuff. But just that image, you know, that gave me the faith that even if I don't get it, even if I don't understand, there is some sense of order somewhere. I'm just not getting it. I'm not, I don't have it. But just that image, they look the same. They have hair, one piece sticking out, and one place it goes in. I know today it's totally politically incorrect to say all these things,
I know.
with all
It's safe here.
with all these gender wars and
Yeah.
and woke and multi-sexual, but beside that point, um, I didn't even think further, because if I go a bit further in that step, it's like, okay, and then if you put that thing in that place, then you have a baby, and that's amazing. You know, we have been living in our mind so much that you as a mother, me as a father, we know, we get it. It's magical. It's and one way to say it's insane. It's from, and you as a woman, it was in there,
Mm.
and then a life came out of you, and that for me is my new number one. It used to be number five, the universe, and that's what I call faith. Faith is not about anthropomorphic, having a figure outside in which you trust. It's not about that. It's about you don't have to think making a baby. It's been done. It's there. Um, you don't have to think about beating your heart. You don't have to think about breathing. So there is, and I don't need to deify to make it into a god and to make it into a, uh, a system of rewards and punishment, you know. So my new number one is to say, look at this. This is amazing. Life is there. And then each of us use our own words. You can say it's magical or it's poetic. Um, some people will say, it's God, but I don't need God, or it's intelligent design or that kind of. This is always this. It's like when you use these words. For me, it's mercantile. It's like there's an exchange. Like you must do a sacrifice. You must be worthy. Say no. Life is a gift, and a gift cannot be merchandise and stuff like that. So I'll do now number two, and then I'll stop, and then we can discuss, and maybe we'll go further in this discussion or
Yeah.
not. But you get the idea now that before my big flip. So basically, you can think of a pyramid: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and before number one was the mind, because we're so intelligent and we're so proud, and number two is listen to your feeling, and number three was the body, and then it was yes, but we are spiritual beings, and number five was the universe. It's like we must control the universe. We are a force. We are the force of nature. We are in the hierarchy. We are the higher beings. We're the most developed force of intelligence in all that stuff. I'm turning that around. And the big flip is to say, no, every day the practice is to say life is a gift. Life is amazing. Life is the sun shining, or the rain, or the flower, or babies being born. Of course, there's suffering, and then we can get into that later. But it's a gift. There's nothing about being worthy. It's just there. So that's the new number one. So every day now I live in this free, wonderful universe, as opposed to doubting myself and thinking all the time. So that was faith, and number two now is trust, and trust is saying, okay, there's this universe, and I'm here. ZANE is there, Jeremy, Daniels, Bob, Stefan, Naomi, all of you guys, you're there, and you have nothing to do to gain the right of being there. And that's a gift. That's amazing. It's like each of us are here. And what is the trust about is trusting that anything that comes through you, that you feel, that you live, is true. It doesn't mean it's right, but everything you think, you're there. It's your gift. Whatever you live, that's your life. I'll never be ZANE. I'll never be Bob. I'll never be Margaret or Naomi or Luz or any of these amazing, great people. But being me, that's enough. And that's the expression, are you good enough? Are you worthy? But when you do the big flip, none of that exists. You are there, And again, you're a gift. It's amazing. Life is just amazing. So that's the big flip. So at night, of course, it's a practice. And what I mean is practice is, yes, I did the big flip. Doesn't mean that I've gotten rid of all my old habits, my thought process, and my reflexes. Sometimes I have doubts, sometimes I'm scared. I always keep my journal. My journal, there you go. It's a listening friend. It's to say, I am here. I am worthy. I am wonderful. I am. So when you live the big flip, when you practice the big flip, there's no longer. So that's why it's trust. There's no longer any doubts. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to fight with your parents or your children or your uncle or the mayor or the city planner or, that's further when we get to number 5, which is the thought process. But before the flip, that was number 1. You always worry about your children and the mayor and this and that and this and that. And then often that's when people get burned out because they never feed the essential, which is what I call the big flip, is to say, yes, but look at this amazing universe. It's a given, it's a gift. And that's number 1. And number 2, you are there, you are amazing. There's nobody else different, than you. Everybody is different. I mean, and when you feed on this, then whatever happens in life, it's like branches in the wind. Because your roots is like, okay, whatever happens, I'm ZANE. And that's cool. I just love that. I'm here. Jesus Murphy, that's amazing. I'm here. Wow. And no one can take that away from me. No one can tell me that's wrong. No one can tell me that what I'm feeling is not what I'm feeling, because I am feeling. And again, it's that word feeling that means so many things, but whatever's coming from you, it's wonderful. It's you. It's who you are. We will get into suffering and all. Why is it so complicated then? So I'll give a little 30-second, and then we can reflect on these two, number 1 and number 2.
Yes, what kind of stood out for me from what you just said, few key words, except for the big flip. It's sensing, which leads to beliefs, or it could be parallel, and the somatic experience of it. And that all kind of connects the dots, because the sense creates the reality. And you said belief, or beliefs. You said beliefs, not belief. They create your physical body. And eventually, if you're saying to your senses that they're not real, you're denying the body. So that's the basics, what I heard from what you explained to me and everyone who's listening. And I would love to continue listening what else you have to say, because this is, I can sense And I truly sense it, the peace, that you're truly at peace with every single word that you're saying. And you know why I sense it? Because I let the same information come through my life at the minute. And especially this morning has been particularly interesting. And I'm not going to use the word hard, but the understanding that you don't have to be right, but the truth, your expression is always true, because it's the only way how you can express yourself at that particular time. If you deny it, um, there's no difference between, you know, having a rat race in any meaning of the expression. You can have a rat race in meanings of running after money, or you could have the rat race in meaning of searching for divine, or being, you know, better human being. um, there's no way to escape it except for starting to feel. And when you start to feel and sense, then the truth somehow seems to create itself. And the bodily expressions, you cannot avoid them really. And that's what I feel, and that's what I sense. And I know it's thousands and thousands of kilometers between us, but I also have some type of allergic reaction to something. So even that way, I can sense the sneezy, wheezy feeling. And I truly, I feel the realness in this behind every single word you say. So with that kind of gratitude, I would love to continue hearing on what you have
Mm,
to say about
mm.
other points.
Well, thank you. Yeah, yeah. So there was something you said, and yeah, an image that came this morning was the idea of a seed. You know, an apple seed, whatever seed of fruit you might think of, and the seed doesn't decide it wants to become an apple. You know, it's in its nature. Let's put it this way. Because you mentioned about, yeah, this idea came back because you mentioned about how our mind shapes our body, and something, the relationship between the
Yeah.
mind and the body. And now you could say that each of us is a seed. Let's do the apple seed for now, for this reason, because everybody's seen an apple seed somehow. And now the apple seed, to become what it is, to be needs the earth, needs to be planted, and the earth needs the water and the sunshine for it to come to fruition. It's a big word, but to come to its true self, to its true nature. Now, I've often used the expression, the story of the ugly duckling. You know, the story of the baby swan that didn't know it was a swan, and it was raised by ducks, and everybody was making fun of him because he didn't look the same. And until one day he finds other swans who are white and mature, and then he sees, oh, I've always been a swan, I was just in the wrong place, in the wrong environment. So why this image of the seed is so important is that when you do the big flip, is to say, I am this seed. I am beautiful. I am perfect. I don't need to do anything to grow. I don't need to do anything to flower. So I'm not responsible. Ooh, that's a big word. I'm not in control. Ooh, another big word.
30
I'm not
seconds.
I'll keep on thinking for talking for a beautiful audience. So think, do an example of yourself. What kind of seed could you be? Have you found a way to nourish yourself? Do you feel that you are inside your seed and you're not blossoming into what you feel there's something wrong? You feel that you feel your seed has not been full grown, that you didn't reach your potential. Let's put it this way. So before the big flip, the seeds decide, I want to be an egg. I want to be a pineapple. I want to be a duck. I want to be. That's how the mind works. But if you don't know you're a seed, if you start before the big flip, I'm going to say, I want to be a duck. You know, a quack, 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 quack. You're a seed, but you want to be a duck. So what are your emotions are feeling? Nobody understands me. Nobody listens to me. You know, uh, each time I try something, it doesn't work. You know, when I try to go into action, I'm not ducking it. You know, it's just, and the universe is against me. Everything is against me, and
I
you're
will
wrong.
continuously use this expression from now on. I'm not ducking it
I'm not ducking it. You know?
or
So,
egging it.
or egging it. Exactly, exactly. But the universe made you a seed. So when you start with your mind before the big flip, you just don't get it. You're fighting all the time. You're judging all the time. You're trying to make sense. You're fighting. When you do the big flip, you say, okay, first of all, I'm just who I am. Now, the universe is the soil, is the environment. When we start to do the flip, or what I call the awakening or l'éveil, as you say, most likely you're in an environment which is not supporting you.
Mm.
And that's not because for dozens of years, you were trying to egg it. You were trying to duck it, you know? So as a seed, you were surrounding yourself with eggs and with ducks and living by the pond and so once you realize, say, okay, that's not my environment. That's why I say it's a practice. So what do you practice? You practice being silent. So you say, okay, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I am, but I have faith. And that's where the word is so important. I see the sun shining. I see babies are being born. I don't get it. I don't understand. And it's out of my control. But there's this amazing gift around me. So I'll keep silent and I let it do its work, you know. So negative people or a negative environment, and that's what then you're sensing I'm not happy here, then it starts to fall away. Okay. So as a seed, you say, okay, I'm letting the universe create my environment. I'll stop asking questions. I'll just go away from what doesn't feel good, what doesn't feel right. And what doesn't feel good and what doesn't feel right, that's we get into sensing, you know, because you trust I'm okay. I don't need to do anything. I'm unique, I'm different. And that's when we get into number three. So number one is your faith. Number two is your trust. And number three is you have the power to do things, you know. You can move, you can build, you can throw away. And number three still is the body. So in our hierarchy of universe, spirit, body, heart, and mind, that stays the same. It's just the priority changes. First, we just have faith in the universe. It's amazing. I mean, the sun is anyway. The sun is shining here. You can see it from the window. I'm breathing. My heart is going boom, boom, boom. It's wow. And babies are being born all the time. It's like, wow, that's amazing. And I have nothing to do for that. It just happens. And this force, this beautiful gift, is there to nourish my seed. I have nothing to do. I have nothing to ask. I have nothing to beg. I have nothing to sacrifice. I don't have to put, poor little piggy here and then stab him and drink his blood and, these kind of rituals. No. It's a gift. So this little seed there, I have faith. Yes, this is right. This is okay. Number two is I trust that whatever this little seed feels is okay, is right. That's my reality at this moment in time. That's all it is. It doesn't mean it's right in the mind sense, but it is. I have a good friend in Holland who always says, it is what it is. And that expression was kind of, oh, I don't like that expression. But now it makes sense. It is what it is. But it is what it is, and I value it. And it's a gift. So I'm adding this little, it's a gift. So number three is the power that you can do things. Now, so you can smoke, you can take drugs, you can take sugar, you can take alcohol, you can take sex, you can take walks, you can take breathing exercises, or you can take, I went on a 6-day water fast the other day. You can take different types of eating habits and stuff like that. But what I mean is that these are all action that will affect your body. But it's hard to do because we're so disconnected with our body. But the point is that number three is we have that power. We have this amazing universe, and we have this uniqueness. You are ZANE, I am Guy. Nothing to do, nothing to ask, nothing. That's just a given. It's just, and you're a beautiful person. That's all there is to it. And I've been given the power to act. I can act. And people say I can't, I couldn't. It's like, no, okay. And that's when we get into number four, is what you choose. You have the choice. Nobody's forcing you. And people say, yeah, but you don't always have the choice. I say, you don't, if you use your mind as number one, I agree, you don't have the choice that you want. But when you do the big flip, it's not about what you want. We forget that. It's no more longer about what you want. It's what you feel. What are you passionate about? What makes sense to you? What rings true to you? What, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Is this?
It's my belief is similar to this. The sound of each human, it's very, very valuable, because there's only one human who can sound that way. So no other human can sound like you or like me.
Yeah. And so by taking action, meaning you're, again, to use the metaphor, you're planting yourself in the ground that will see you grow. And you're weeding out the bad weeds that is hindering, that is making your growth difficult or impossible. That's the choice. So your choice of the environment. And then finally, when you do that, and that's the craziest thing happening here, is finally the seed will blossom, and that's when you will find your story. That's when you will find your purpose in life. That's when it will become so obvious, what is the fruit of your life? What is the purpose of your life? What is the the joy, the pleasure, the story of your life? What makes Zane Zane, and what makes Gigi and Jennifer and Luz and Tabata and whoever is out there. So to find your purpose, to find your joy, you practice already these 4 steps, which bring you full happiness. And before the big flip, you're fighting. You're trying to understand, who am I? Why is this happening to me? Why is this my past? What's the problem? Why am I not getting? And I'm tired. I'm fighting. I need my drink. I need my sleep. I need my space. It's all about needing, 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 needing. But once you practice the big flip, it's like, okay, I have faith. The universe is there. It's amazing. And then you use the metaphor which resonates with you. You know, there's babies being born, and it's out of my control. There's water transforms into ice and vapor. I mean, whatever each person, the story speaks to this person. And so basically, you discover who you are from having the experience of life surrounding with people, and not the other way around. You don't decide, okay, this is my life, this is what I want. By hook or by crook, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to be stubborn. I'm going to, it's not fair. It's my doo-doo parents. It's my doo-doo ancestors. I was raped. I'm making fun of it now, but it's not funny, of course. But, the past, there's no past. It's totally irrelevant. And people don't like it, when I say the past is totally irrelevant. But it's when you get the concept of have faith in this amazing life. It's there. And it's bigger than you, and you are part of it. And that's amazing. You say, let's say if you like football, there was the movie Deadpool, and Ryan Reynolds who bought the West Ham, or I forget how it's called, the football team in Wales. And if some of your listeners are sports fans, say, okay, well, the universe is to say you're part of the winning team. You got all the trophies. You got all the, you won the championship. You got the trophy, and you are part of that team. And that's it. How do you feel? It's like, oh, yes, I'm a winner. Life. One of my mentors a long time ago, Lenny Ravitch, who is Israel and is head of the Gestalt Institute, he says, you won the sperm race, out of billions, or I don't know, millions of sperm and then one egg, you were the one who won the race, who fertilized, and and I love the
Not
science
only
that
that, not only that, there's a theory. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a theory, the medical theory, that you won the race, and also the egg picked you, because
yeah,
egg has a
exactly.
pick. Otherwise, the combination wouldn't work.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that, because
Oh,
that was a very Herculean male power kind of thing. But
yeah.
actually, the egg opens and closes the
Yeah,
frontier,
they
and it
both
decides
have to
who,
kind of, accept each other and be
you know.
great
So
combination.
So exactly. So whatever metaphor, image, but when you do the big flip is to say, I'm part of something that is a gift, that is given, that makes babies, that makes the sunshine, that makes, I'm a winner. Just being alive, I'm a winner.
Mhm.
And then number two is I trust myself. Everything I feel is it's there. It's true. And it's just who I am, and that's fine. And not only that, I'm not on the bench. I've been given the power to act, to do stuff, to actually create life. Isn't that amazing? And not only that, I have been given the power of choice. I choose which direction I want to go. Nobody's forcing a choice on me. And then when I practice all of this, then my seed, my geeness or your zaneness or whatnot, blooms by itself. You have nothing to do. It just blooms by yourself. So you have no question of asking, why am I alive? Why am I here? You have no permission to ask. You have no
You don't need a
question.
permission to ask him.
No, because you've been given the power. You're part of the team. You are an amazing person. So that's why I call it the big flip. Because you, by practicing this, I mean, and you talk about the energy that I'm giving off here to the screen and stuff like that. So I'm not faking any of this thing. And I'm not saying it's easy, but it's like a drug. You could say it's like once you've tasted, it's like chocolate. Once you've tasted once, this idea that I have faith, I trust, I have the power, and I have choice, then there's no room for doubt. There's no room for fear. There's no room for permission. There's no room for my heritage, my past, and all of these things. And these, like bark on a tree, I always find amazing how a tree starts from a twig and it just grows and grows and grows. But the only way it grows is by shedding its bark. But it's such a slow process that we don't see it. When we see
Mm.
a tree today, you unconsciously think that it was born with the bark it's on. No, it's not. It's not. It's like it's shedding its bark every, I don't know, every decade, or it just little cells every day, like our body. We
In order
a
to
pop.
form the rings inside the piece of log, if you see each year it marks one circle.
Yeah,
So my guess would be each year happen, even if the whole bark is not shed, something significant happens, and I'm really not happy now that I didn't study that in biology lesson. But I will look into my books now, my kids' books, and I'll find this
Mm,
out now because I find it fascinating as well. Because by the rings, we can sometimes see how dry or wet the year was, or
exactly.
which side probably some other tree was cut from, left to
Mhm.
right side, and there was more wind influence happening in that year, or then there was a small bush who grew bigger and started to shield the
Exactly.
tree, and circumstances changed again. So I find it fascinating. I'm glad you mentioned that because yeah, it's really interesting how so much we can learn from nature, looking at ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's when I would say the tree is practicing growth.
yeah,
It doesn't have the belief in growth. It's actually it's living, practicing growth. And if you think about it for ourselves, what are our pain points in our life is when there is no growth.
mm. I have whole three
Pain.
pages written full.
So that's the big flip in a
Yeah.
in a nutshell. It's just the
One,
idea
two, and three.
that you're a good writer. You're a very good writer to keep
That's the
that.
way I listen to important information. Yeah, I'm more on the visual side than on ear. Now, I love the I'm not ducking it part, or I'm not egging it. I think that's the essence of the big flip.
Hmm.
Because there's always going to be someone who's saying you're not doing that or that the particular way that I imagine that it has to be done, and if you spend enough time in silence, then you find out that oh wow, no, that's not. It might be true for you, but it's definitely not true for me. On what to do with it, and one of my big questions, and I have few big questions, is what about the violence it causes? That your truth might differ from my truth, and it's pretty obvious in nowadays world again that it might differ. And then there are some people who think that they're protecting something, but what is that? What they're protecting in, and what kind of tools they use, also. And yeah, those are big questions, and I'm sure everyone will understand them as per their life experience and their direction. So I'm
Hmm.
not going to tell what to think about what I just said, but I think I will listen to this conversation, mostly speech this time, but I'm so glad because this was exact way how it was supposed to happen. I'm just so thankful. And I will listen to this again. And normally I would write down description of the live just right after it, but this time I promise I'm going to listen to it once again, and then I'm going to write a little description because I feel it's necessary this way this time. So thank you, Guy. It's been a pleasure. It's
Thank
been a
you, and we'll
pleasure.
connect soon again. Have an
We will.
amazing week.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Love you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.